Hey, welcome back, fellow YouTubers. What can I say? It's been a hell of the last 2 weeks, and I will tell you, there's been some crazy shit going on in my world. Maybe not the world so much. But what do we have on the workbench? Well, I'm going to sort of rework this Strat of mine, this deluxe series Strat. I have in here the Joe Satriani signature pickups. I was going to flip this guitar, but I don't know if people just aren't liking these pickups, so I have another route I'm going to go. I did take off the neck because I felt like I needed to rework the fret work, so I spent more time doing fret work on this particular one. I just thought they were a little too rough, and I wanted to spend some extra time on the fretwork. It's a really nice neck, 2021, and yeah, so I'm reworking that. I'm thinking of pulling this assembly out, maybe just selling the cavity with the pickups, the Joe Satriani, or keeping it. I don't really know. But it doesn't seem too many people are interested in this guitar, and I think because of the pickups. Awesome guitar, though. Awesome playing and sounding guitar, but I thought the Joe Satriani pickups would have been a hit, but I guess in my community, maybe not here in this area. So what do we have on the table today, guys? Well, I've been on a merry-go-round. I've been trying to make a video for the last 2 weeks, believe it or not, and every time I was about to upload it, something went terribly wrong, and I mean terribly wrong. So with all of those things aside, this is what I ended up buying at Guitar Center. And this is a Player Series Stratocaster. This is a, what year is this? Okay, 2021. And I was in Guitar Center playing this after I had returned a guitar almost similar to this. It was like a 2019, almost the same color, 3 single regular coil pickups, ceramic, and it just didn't click. It had a wonderful neck. In fact, a lot of the neck on the one that I returned had a little bit of flame maple in it, but it wasn't enough because I couldn't make the connection. So that went back. Now, while I was playing with this one in the store, I did make a connection with this, and for several reasons. One, it sounded a lot like the new stuff that had just come out with the Fender Series Players Modified Strat, and this one does have a push-pull, and but I found while I was playing it, that the pots are really kind of loose. I'm going to try to work that out. Other than that, what I saw about the bridge is somebody has gone ahead and put a big ass brass block on this. So somebody spent some money on this, the previous owner. This has a Paul Fierro, I believe, rosewood type neck on it. And so I got into it. Like, I was like, okay, this is offering me a lot of the tones that I'm comfortable with. It's got the locking tuners staggered. Look at that. It's a nice guitar, and it was on the cheap side. I mean, this was like $5.25. Now, I didn't need to have this, that's for sure. Like that, I didn't need to have this guitar, but I got sort of like my juices going about getting a guitar. And what ended up happening is I found a Strat similar to this on the Guitar Center website. It was a great deal, and I ended up bringing it home. It got shipped to the Rancho Bernardo store, but it just didn't work out. So I said, fuck it. I sent it back. But the crazy thing was, we're going to work this out. I'm going to figure out what's going on with the pickups. Maybe I can get them to be a little bit more firm. We'll see about that. All right, let's go to the studio. I got some of these guitars sitting out here, but Okay, so what did I end up doing? Well, Sterling just came out with these Music Man Sterling Luke series with this purple burst. And I was like, oh, fuck. Yeah, it just looked like something that was very close to the real thing. Like, very, very close to the real deal. And maybe all you had to do at 745 to take this to the next level was to fucking change those pickups, right? This is what I was thinking. I mean, because this finish is just, it's stunning. So I went to Amazon to get it instead of Sweetwater. And I'll be honest, like, I had no problems picking it up. It got shipped to my house. And then this is the new model. So this price tag, $749, and everybody's selling it for that price. I'm like, okay. I mean, it has to be better than my Fireflies, right? That are only $250, less than $300. And I got 4 or 5 of those guitars because, they're good guitars. And so this has got to be better. So look, here's the real deal. Here's one similar to it. It's at $3,600. That's fucking outrageous. But here is the one that I'm referring to. This is a 2023 Ernie Ball Music Man Luke 3 2200. Was 2700, okay? And it's got the roasted flame maple neck. It's got a case, and it's got chrome pickups instead of black. So I was like, yeah, this is pretty similar. I mean, we're getting there. We're definitely in the ballpark. I like the black hardware. It was great. It was going to be a bitchin' guitar. I already knew it. And so it came in. I was going to do a review on it. I was going to upload it. I was going to tell you guys how fucking bitchin' this guitar was and what, And then I went to change the strings because I noticed it had 10s on there. And this shit happened. The fucking post, man, from a string change, just pulled out of the fucking wood, out of the body. So the springs, like, this was almost at level, but the spring tension, which was not hard, trust me, it was not crazy hard. I mean, I adjusted the springs when the posts were actually in the body, and this was pretty much close to laying on the body. So when this happened, I was like, what the fuck is that? So I took some pictures of this, and I contacted the guys that were shipping out this stuff. And I said, in the 35 years I've been playing guitar, I've never had to ever change the strings on a guitar and this shit happened. Like, this is like, oh, this is so bad. Like, since when does the whole post rise out of the body when you're changing strings? I've never seen that. But to me, I was thinking, well, maybe there's a fix around it. Maybe I can get a discount. But, the real fix for this is to plug it up and re-drill the holes and make sure that these posts, which are brass, never come out of the body, especially during a string change. So I was like, you know what? Fuck this guitar. So there you go. Beautiful looking guitar, it had all the potential in the world, and it's closer to $800, and look what the QC was, and it had a lot going for it. It did have locking tuners. It had a roasted neck on it, and I think Sweetwater has 2 of them. But I'll tell you, man, way no, not cool. So that was a bust. Yeah. So, and then, the guy called me today and was like, hey, we got the guitar back. I was just wondering, if you would be interested and we can resend it to you. I had my tech, look at it, and I think we're comfortable to let it back go. I go, if you don't mind me asking, what did you guys actually do? And you know what he told me? Basically, they restrung the guitar and pushed the post back down into the body. That was their fix. I mean, I already did that. I mean, because I restrung it and I sent it back to them, and I had already pushed these posts back down into the body. Yeah, they'll you could push them back in, and then when I got on the whammy bar, I started to, bend on the tremolo here, and they started to rise right out of the body. So basically, they didn't do a damn thing. These guys, and they were trying to ask me if I wanted it back, and I was like, no. After this experience and seeing that kind of QC, no. And to even be told that all they did was, what? Push the post back down and they feel comfortable? I was like, get the fuck out of here. That's such bullshit. So, if you, like, I'm just saying, I don't know, this may be just a factory defect, but greatly disappointed with the Sterling Music Man Purple Sparkle. It's not going to be a part of my, once something like that happens, unless they're $300, at one point, maybe I'll get one, but from now on, it's a no go. So, moving along, guys. Yeah, so I finally found a guy who was doing a demo on the telly. And yeah, so this was a great little insight, a better insight, better camera, better channel than mine, of course, because I have a homegrown channel. These guys do a lot of that professional YouTube kind of stuff. I'll put a link to Kyle Bull down there so you can check it out. He does cover a lot more things in depth, but some of the things he talks about it's kind of a hit and miss for me because he's more of just a thumper. He's not really like a lead guitar player. He's a thumper. So I take his criticism on any level with a grain of salt. And then he's playing through some 2 amps, which they're going to produce a certain kind of sound but if you're this kind of player, then this is good for you. But I'll put a link to his channel because this guy, if you can get through the whole like fucking video, God bless you, because this guy, yeah, he's a rattle cage. It's like that one little saying you hear, we got a talker. Yeah, this guy, like, fuck, give me a break, bro. And then here's another guy. Well, we all know who this guy is, So this guy cracked me up because he was doing a video. If you've ever seen his channel, this guy's got like some of the top of the line PRS guitars. Guy talks a lot of shit. I don't know if he thinks he's a doctor or, yeah, it's the Ministry of Guitars. But what's funny is he nailed it on the coffin about guys who buy guitars like this. And this is kind of what he says. But this is really in reference to who he is. That's what I found funny.
Guitars. I know of people who own guitars but don't really play a lot or even play that well. But I understand it because guitars can be such amazing things.
Yeah, you know why you understand it? Because with, I don't know, half of $100,000 guitars you got in your inventory, you're not that good of a player, bro. Honestly, like he's exactly right. I think he's more bought these guitars on an investment level. I don't think he is at all. He's an average player at best. But a lot of these guys who have these channels are very average players. Even like the Tone King. You ever listen to that guy? There's a lot of rambling going on, but there's very little players that have real skills. Steve from Boston, he's got good skills and he's, but everything he plays comes through sort of the same settings. But at least he's a good shredder. He's a good player. Unlike a lot of these other guys who are just completely bozos and they're just trying to blow up their channel. Anyway, that's enough of that. But this was just kind of cracked me up because he was saying, do you deserve the guitar you are playing? Well, in my opinion, you don't deserve any of these guitars for what you do with them. I would love to have any one of them, but he nailed it on the coffin. Exactly what he said. You really don't deserve these guitars, bro. Sorry. But I can appreciate looking at his collection, but I think it's just a lot of lip service going on here. And then here's this guy. He's talking about this is the best guitar ever owned, Schecter, blah, blah, blah. And then you think, okay, so he's all bragging about it. It's the best fucking guitar in the world. It's the best guitar he's ever owned, right?
Sounds and plays amazing, which I know I keep saying, but it's good. I do plan on eventually swapping out the pickups for Fishman's.
You see? This is what I'm saying. It's total bullshit. Why do you make a fucking video saying this when deep down he already wants to get rid of the pickups and change the tuners? But it's the best guitar he's ever owned. You guys got to watch out for this kind of bullshit because, it really isn't the best guitar he's ever owned. So, what can you do? In the midst of all of the chaos that was going on, I was shopping around in Reverb and found this guitar. This is just a parts guitar, honestly. But the guy was asking for a certain price. I bartered with him because I've had these pickups before. These are the Seymour Duncan everything. These are about $300 pickup set. And this bridge reminded me of a Vega trim. So I was looking at his guitar, checking it out. He did a little video, which, again, decent guitar. Is it set up right? Probably not. He's given up on it. I'll take it from him because there's some value here to this guitar. It's a parts guitar, Squire body. It's got a real Fender neck, not a Squire neck. He's got the Seymour Duncan everything. And then he's got this sort of trim that looks exactly like the Vega trim, if it isn't another company or who did it better or who did it first. So, decent guitar, and I got it for a little over $300 from what he was asking. And so, do I need the neck? No, but I never know whether or not a guitar like this will actually even be a good player. So what has he got? Well, he's got this Blade Runner bridge on there. $189. It used to be $249, but it's like the Vega trim. So, okay, well, we're starting off in the right area. Well, you got a real nice bridge in there that doesn't belong on a Squire. I mean, good God, but hey, we'll take it. Used to be $250, $189. Okay, well, maybe we'll keep it. Maybe we'll get rid of it. And then the Seymour Duncan is the black set. $339 for a loaded pick guard. Is it actually a loaded pick guard? Maybe not. But even individually, the set is $297. I've had these pickups in a guitar of mine before, and I really liked them. But I ended up selling it not because of the pickups, just because I do charity work, and a lot of these guitars I keep for a while, I do end up selling. And it goes right back to some of the families that I sponsor in the Philippines, to give them a happiness and some sort of relief from the hardship that they face. So anyway, I've had these pickups before. Now, in fact, on their website, they don't even have the black set. They don't have them in black. So the pick guard is the only thing I've seen in black, but I don't believe that's pick guard is there. I don't know what this guy's got going on, but all I know is the everything set is about $300 if you're buying them brand spanking new. And so what I'm gonna do is get this guitar is coming, and I'm just gonna strip it down and rob it for the parts, sell the body, probably sell the neck, and use the other parts because I could use these parts, and for the deal, a little over $300. Yeah, that's basically just the price of the pickups. So what am I getting for free? Just about, well, the guitar, the tremolo, and the neck. What's going on underneath this pick guard, God only knows, but I can fix it. I already know how to do all that kind of soldering kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at. And it's been so after the disappointment with the Sterling Music Man, I was just kind of in the market for another guitar. And Why? Because guys, at my age, I get kind of bored. But I'll leave a link for the telly, the Firefly telly. He does a pretty decent review on it. Again, he's a thumper. He's not like a real versatile guitar player. But he does offer some insight. So I'll give the guy credit. Honestly, I give him credit. And also, while I was at Guitar Center, it never dawned on me, but the stool that I was sitting on, I really had a good time with it because this is brand new actually. So these stools from Proline are actually really, really nice. They're very comfortable, but they also offer, when I'm here on the workbench, they offer me the ability to just kind of do that. And before I was just sitting in a stationary chair, and my mobility was really restricted. So I was like at Guitar Center, sitting down, actually playing that guitar. That was kind of the first one I was drawn to. And then I was kind of like, hey, I like this chair. Why don't I have one right in front of my workbench, so I can just kind of move around real freely, when I'm in between little things instead of having to pull out a chair and then having to sit it. So this is actually my second chair. The first one I got she said, well, I have a Fender stool. So I brought home the Fender stool, and man, was it rude. That Fender fucking stool was the rudest thing ever. It looked cool, but it had zero cushioning. It had a big fucking wood rim, and it had maybe less than maybe a quarter of an inch of padding just to bubble up the top. Man, it was so rude on my buttocks. I was like, no. I want the chair that's in the store. The one that's got the massive cushioning for big guys even like me. And that's kind of what I got. So if you haven't had one of these in your area where you're playing guitar, these are really nice stools because the swiveling, it just gives you a lot of good mobility when you're sitting down, either at a workbench or in front of your guitar. And don't ask me why I haven't had one before, because it was just kind of that thing. So anyway, this is where I'm at, guys. And yeah, it's just been a crazy experience. I will tell you, here on the table, I've been experimenting with, these glow-in-the-dark markers. And my first set worked out really good. And then these were supposed to be purple. But I contacted the guy over at who sells these. And I said, dude, these aren't really, they're more like pink. I can't use that. But anyway, they do sell, because the Fireflies are kind of hard to see with the very dark roasted flame maple. So I wanted to get something that really popped in the dark. And they sell these little side markers and dot markers. But these actually glow in the dark, like the Everglows or whatever they call those. They work really, really well. Really, really good. And the adhesive is really, really good. So I'm ordering another couple sets. I want to put one on the other Firefly, which I have over there to do. And then we're going to get into this thing. But first, now you guys can leave me comments about this bridge. So the playability of this guitar is right on par. But this is kind of interesting because the bridge plate, it's at a floating position. It's not even on the fucking body. Now, if you do the math, you bring that bridge plate to the body, you're really going to have to crank the shit out of those saddles. Because I usually don't like that kind of setup. That's not my preferred setup. Even if I'm going to use the whammy bar, I'm going to use it lightly anyway. So, in comparison, like this saddle is not raised. It's pretty flush to the body, right? And even with the neck on it, this thing's not really moving. And I get great playability and action. But look at where the body's at. Look at the bridge plate. It's not floating, but this one is. And I was thinking about, well, what the fuck's gonna happen here? Because if if I lower that bridge plate, I'm gonna have to reset all the saddles because it's got a really nice low action as it is. But I guess these were set up to be a floating type bridge, and maybe that's why this guy has a brass saddle on there. I don't really know, but anyway, while I was playing it, I was noticing these knobs are really like fucking loose. I might have to replace these pots. I'm thinking of even doing a push, like, you know, it may be a little bit off the body, but I can't barely fucking get underneath here, man. This is stupid, you know. And also another thing, I bought a set of the new Fender Player Series modified pickups, by the way, from the Stratosphere. And it did have a different humbucker, and I thought I was getting a good deal, you know, and they're pretty quality type pickups for $179. I just bought the pickups. I put them in the other Strat, and then when I went to do the coil tap, I was expecting it to be just like, because they were advertising it as a Fender Player Modified 2, so I was expecting the bridge and the neck pickup to be activated, you know, like you see in the videos. But no, it was just a coil tap. So I told the guys over at Stratosphere, I go, hey, look, this can't be a Player Series 2 modified, because with the coil tap, it's supposed to activate the neck pickup also, and I'm not getting any action like that. I'm just getting the coil tap. So for $179, basically almost $200, all you're giving me is some Fender noiseless pickups, and you know, it had a different humbucker. I was like, no, fuck that. I sent those back too, because it doesn't make sense. You know, if you're advertising pickups with the new Fender Player Series Modified 2, and they're not doing what the split coil is supposed to be doing in positions 1 and 2, then it's bullshit. So this guitar was about $550, right? So let's just take the fucking $200 out of there, $550. You know, now we're down to $350. You know, minus the pickup. So this is a good guitar, and but you know, I'm getting at least a whole guitar with a lot of good hardware. It's got a synthetic bone nut. You know, it's got an alder body, solid plane. It's got real hard chrome saddle, nice alloy. Intonation's really good, and it's got a good sound. I mean, it's really kind of funky here in position 2. It's got good quack. It's just got good quack. I'm not a real big fan of the noiseless, but this is an older, you know, Player Series Plus guitar, so it feels great. It's quite heavy, and yeah, nice guitar though. I mean, look at that brass block. Let's just take a quick look at it before we hit the 30-minute mark. Hold on. Well, okay. Well, you know, again, I'm tearing this whole thing down, and I think 4 of these screws just were all loose in there. I mean, not loose like they wouldn't even unscrew out of the hole, so the cavity is not preferable. But look at that brass block, dude. Damn. That's some good money right there. Somebody dropped some good money on that big chunk of big brass, and it's got DiMaggios. I mean, it's got Diodarios. But that's good. I mean, can you imagine what that costed? Yeah. So anyway, I'm going to rework this whole guitar. I'm going to totally just take off the pick guard and see what kind of hocus pocus is going on underneath there. I'm going to restring it anyway. So that's all I got going, guys. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for you guys who joined my channel. This is a homegrown channel, very low key, but I really do try to give you an honest opinion of the bullshit that's out there. And just thanks for stopping by. You know, we're 30 minutes into this video, but I hope I was able to convey, big word, Todd, you know, some of the things that I've been trying to do a video, but for, you know, not for the sake of the YouTube channel, but for an honest, you know, opinion about certain things that I do. So I'm gonna put that Seymour Duncan everything set into here, And I have a beautiful black pick guard that will go with this guitar. Really, and this may end up being just a total different vibe, you know, because this is a different vibe right here, the Joe Satriani. So we're going to take this to another level, but, you know, it's best to do the fretwork sometimes by taking off the neck. And I did get rid of a lot of ugliness on the sides. It really did need some attention. I think when I first bought it, I just restrung it and got to playing it, but yesterday I was kind of like, fuck, man, I need to work on these frets, you know, kind of get them right. So anyway, guys, thanks for joining me, and as always, have a blessed week, man. Thanks for hanging out with me on this channel, this homegrown channel. You remember the homegrown stuff? Yeah, people used to like making their own homegrown, smoking some homegrown. All right, later. Have a blessed week.